the best thriller movies of all time. Welcome to an electrifying journey into the world of suspense, intrigue, and heart-pounding excitement. In this slideshow, we'll explore iconic and mind-bending narratives that have kept us on the edge of our seats. Nightcrawler. When Lou Bloom, a con man desperate for work, muscles into the world of LA crime journalism, he blurs the line between observer and participant to become the star of his own story. Insomnia. Two Los Angeles homicide detectives are dispatched to a northern town where the sun doesn't set to investigate the methodical murder of a local teen. Uncut Gems. With his debts mounting and angry collectors closing in, a fast-talking New York City jeweler risks everything in hope of staying afloat and alive. Nope. The residents of a lonely gulch in inland California bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery. Inside Man. A police detective, a bank robber, and a high-power broker enter high-stakes negotiations after the criminal's brilliant heist spirals into a hostage situation. A Quiet Place. A family struggles for survival in a world where most humans have been killed by blind but noise-sensitive creatures. They are forced to communicate in sign language to keep the creatures at bay. Black Swan. Nina is a talented but unstable ballerina on the verge of stardom. Pushed to the breaking point by her artistic director and a seductive rival, Nina's grip on reality slips, plunging her into a waking nightmare. The Invisible Guest. A successful entrepreneur accused of murder and a witness preparation expert have less than 3 hours to come up with an impregnable defense. Sicario. An idealistic FBI agent is enlisted by a government task force to aid in the escalating war against drugs at the border area between the U.S. and Mexico. Shutter Island. Teddy Daniels and Chuck All, two U.S. Marshals, are sent to an asylum on a remote island in order to investigate the disappearance of a patient, where Teddy uncovers a shocking truth about the place. The French Connection. A pair of NYPD detectives in the Narcotics Bureau stumble onto a heroin smuggling ring based in Marseilles, but stopping them and capturing their leaders proves an elusive goal. Split. 3 girls are kidnapped by a man with a diagnosed 23 distinct personalities. They must try to escape before the apparent emergence of a frightful new 24th. U.S. A family's serene beach vacation turns to chaos when their doppelgangers appear and begin to terrorize them. Blue Velvet. The discovery of a severed human ear found in a field leads a young man on an investigation related to a beautiful, mysterious nightclub singer and a group of psychopathic criminals who have kidnapped her child. LA Confidential. As corruption grows in 1950s Los Angeles, 3 policemen, 1 straight-laced, 1 brutal, and 1 sleazy investigate a series of murders with their own brand of justice. The Fugitive. Dr. Richard Kimball, unjustly accused of murdering his wife, must find the real killer while being the target of a nationwide manhunt led by a seasoned U.S. Marshal. No Country for Old Men. Violence and mayhem ensue after a hunter stumbles upon a drug deal gone wrong and more than $2 million in cash near the Rio Grande. The Thing. A research team in Antarctica is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that assumes the appearance of its victims. Argo. Acting under the cover of a Hollywood producer scouting a location for a science fiction film, a CIA agent launches a dangerous operation to rescue 6 Americans in Rear Window. A photographer in a wheelchair spies on his neighbors from his Greenwich Village courtyard apartment window and becomes convinced one of them has committed murder, despite the skepticism. The Lives of Others. In 1980 for East Berlin, an agent of the secret police conducting surveillance on a writer and his lover finds himself becoming increasingly absorbed by their lives. North by Northwest. A New York City advertising executive goes on the run after being mistaken for a government agent by a group of foreign spies and falls for a woman whose loyalties he begins to doubt. Zodiac. Between 1968 and 1983, a San Francisco cartoonist becomes an amateur detective obsessed with tracking down the Zodiac Killer, an unidentified individual who terrorizes Northern California with a killing spree. Solaris. A psychologist is sent to a station orbiting a distant planet in order to discover what has caused the crew to go insane. Misery. After a famous author is rescued from a car crash by a fan of his novels, he comes to realize that the care he is receiving is only the beginning of a nightmare of captivity and abuse. Memories of murder. In a small Korean province in 1986, two detectives struggle with the case of multiple young women being found raped and murdered by an unknown culprit. Heat. A group of high-end professional thieves start to feel the heat from the LAPD when they unknowingly leave a clue at their latest heist. Fargo. Minnesota car salesman Jerry Lundegaard's inept crime falls apart due to his and his henchmen's bungling and the persistent police work of the quite pregnant Marge Gunderson. The Prestige. After a tragic accident, two stage magicians in 1890s London engage in a battle to create the ultimate illusion while sacrificing everything they have to outwit each other.